Dear Billy and Nick, love your podcast. I am an aunt of two beautiful boys, 6 and 9. My partner and I were not able to have kids, so we pour a lot of our love into these two gorgeous kids, and they bring us an incredible amount of joy. We want to support the parents as well as the kids, so I started listening to your podcast probably 12 months ago, looking for information on kids with ADHD. Only the 9-year-old has been diagnosed with ADHD. I have found that I need to listen again and again to some of the podcasts, and through repetition, it has transformed the way that I approach my role as an auntie. One of the many examples is being able to identify what one of the kids is struggling with and seeing it simply as a developmental stage that needs scaffolding and focusing on for a few weeks. God, how's this person?
Yeah, it's amazing.
I need to listen to them repeatedly as well. I do. It is simple, but it stuck with me and gave me structure. This is a long-winded way of saying thank you. Also, side note, I also really love hearing two adult men discuss thoughts, feelings, and reflections on of when you hit the mark and miss it. Come to the right place. I think you're doing great work role modelling for other dads. Hey, to my question, I listened to the recent podcast on how to connect. It comes at a timely moment, as I notice Mr. 6-year-old struggling with big emotions, and when he blows, he really blows. He can slam doors, lash out at whoever is near him, and then say some really confronting things like, I want to die and I want to kill myself. I was caught off guard the first time I heard it. I don't think he means it that literally when he says it. I think he means I'm feeling a lot of things right now and don't know how to deal with it, and this breaks my heart. When it first happened, he locked himself in a room, so I sat on the other side of the door and told him I was there. I repeated, I'm here for you, buddy. When you need me, I'm not going anywhere. When I do this, he continues to tell me to go away and seems to escalate and double down more. I managed to get into the room. We started to play peekaboo to break the tension, and he started laughing and smiling. At the time, I thought I was distracting him and didn't know if that was the right thing to do. I know we probably need to do some work on emotional regulation, but when he slams the door and refuses to let me in, I don't know how to get to the connection part first. Talking to him at that point doesn't work, and I don't think he is a kid that wants to use a lot of words. He's pretty straight to the point. I am worried because I don't want to leave him alone dealing with big feelings. What is my question though? Is there something that I can do to connect with him first? Is that the first thing I need to do when he has a meltdown? Sometimes the meltdowns are so heightened and can involve arguments with his brother that I don't know what the first step should be to do that we can get to a place to deal with the big statements of, I want to kill myself. I feel out of my depth and overwhelmed when it happens. Any advice would be helpful. Thanks again for all your amazing work. Oh, I like this one, Billy. I like this one about what to do with the sibling when they're there as well. That's good.
Yeah, it just also shows like how important, people that aren't the direct parents of kids are. Like we talk about that a lot, but maybe we don't throw enough out to aunties and uncles. So really, really overwhelming for probably anyone that hears a child kind of talking like that as well. And thinking about what's going on for you first, and this is really overwhelming. This person sounds like they're really calm, but understanding that kid is just completely emotionally overwhelmed, and so they're kind of stuck in this really threatening state of mind of feelings and thoughts.
Gotcha.
And that means that they're flooded with just, in this kid's instance, this flight. Do you know what I mean? It's a defense mode that kid's going into of just, I've got to get out of here. They were also signaling they want help though by kind of communicating, I don't want to live anymore. And they're signaling that overwhelm, and we should never stop kids from saying that. We should see it as a cry for help, or what we call a kind of separation cry. And anytime someone is really struggling, what we want them to learn is the therapeutic and healing benefit of someone coming towards them. This kid's not there yet because he's closing the door. And whenever kids push us away, we should respond to it. That's how we're sensitive and responsive. We go, cool, I'm coming in too hot, or coming in too close. I'm going to give you the space. The temptation sometimes can be to just, no, I know what you need, and kind of push yourself on them a bit.
Guilty, yeah.
Yeah, which I do too, but I'm getting better at watching Evie and going, no, you're signalling to me that you're shutting down and needing some space. But I've got to learn the patterns to show you that I'm still there. And what happens is that the more and more we do that, the more and more we get that co-regulation connection wiring between our brains of saying cool, Nick knows how to respond to me when I'm struggling, and you over the years have gotten even better at picking up what I need in moments. And you've learnt that because of your emotional brain connecting with my emotional brain, not logic. You kind of, let's be honest, I'm not a very logical person, you know what I mean? When I'm struggling, I'm all about emotion and stuff like that. And you even sometimes catch yourself and you're like, no, I'm not going to fix it. You'll stop halfway through what you're saying something to me, which is beautiful. And we want to do that to our kids as well. Just be like, I've got to sit in this space with them, sometimes at a bit of distance, and just understand that. And what happens is, like, over time, we get better and better at kind of understanding what they need in that moment. And then you'll get to the bits where it's really intense, where the kid's like, I don't want to live anymore, where because you've earned through hundreds of repetitions in lower levels of distress how to support them, then you're able to connect with them in those moments.
Okay, cool. But at what point, Billy, do you get worried when kids start saying those sorts of things like, oh, I want to kill you, I want to kill myself? Like, at what point does it become an issue?
Yeah.
Or do you make it an issue?
You know, personally, I'd be worried the first time I hear it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, from even younger kids. And we should focus on this more specifically throughout the year. But, you know, suicide is the leading cause of death from 15 to 45 years of age in Australia. Like, you know, and devastates communities and things like that. What these kids are often doing, though, in the younger age group, they're just signalling, I'm so overwhelmed, and it's such a cry for help. Do you know what I mean? It's kind of the biggest cry for help there is, isn't it? Saying that I don't want to live anymore.
It's worrying as hell.
And a lot of kids who are really physically violent, it's the same. They're just not able to verbalize it, but they're saying, I'm so distressed right now that I'm going to give the loudest cry for help I can by either like throwing a chair through a window or whatever.
Gotcha.
And we should see those things as signals for support. I think, you know, I really believe that you shouldn't wait. You know, the diagnostic criteria would say for a lot of these conditions, it's got to be present for 6 months and all that stuff. But the parents lead me, the caregivers lead me. Like, when they're worried, I'm worried. And that's when we should put in support and help them and just realise that this kid is experiencing significant distress, and how do we help them? The question a person asks, you know, I need to help them with emotional regulation, which is true. But we don't want to like suppress that distress that kid is experiencing. And it's a good distinction of, like, say Evie or one of your girls is blowing up. I don't want to stop them blowing up just by going, don't scream, don't, you know, whatever. I want to address what's going on underneath that.
Yeah, okay.
And learn lower intensity, more helpful cries for help or signals that I need support.
Okay.
So you come to me instead of running away from me, because I will eventually learn how to be in sync with you so that you see me as just someone who connects and calms you, not someone who makes you explain why, says that scares me so much when you say that and I'm really distressed, I wish you wouldn't, but says I'm here, and then you connect and calm together.
Okay.
This podcast is brought to you by Guiding Growing Minds, a social enterprise that aims to give all children the best opportunity to reach their potential and succeed in living rich and meaningful lives.